welcome back to Cuckoo for Books. My name is Salva and today I'm going to be doing the mid-year book freakout tag. So the first question is the best book you've read so far this year, and I would have to go with Keeping Miss Kalila by Tara Frejas. It's a romance novel. It's a romance class novel to be more specific, and it's about second chance romance. So like high school sweethearts meet again when they're adults and they've been friends for their whole entire lives, and when they meet, she's pregnant already. And it's them reuniting and it's them falling in love, and it was just one of those like glowy things in your life. It's just a really cute, giddy book. For me, it's the best book I've read so far, and the only book that I've read so far that is definitively making its way to my top 10 at the end of the year. The second question is the best sequel you've read this year, and I realized that I didn't read any new sequels except one, and that is The Dazzling Heights by Katharine McGee. I'm only mentioning this because it's the only sequel I've read this year, but by no means is it the best. While it wasn't exactly a sophomore slump, it just sort of plateaued or even went a little bit down. So if the first book was super exciting and super captivating, it kind of went a little down and at the same time rehashed a few plot points from the first book and didn't really have a lot of character development. And it's an ensemble cast, so I would have expected like out of the 6 main characters, more than one to go through character development, and even then it was towards the end of the book. I'm definitely reading the third book because I've come so far in the trilogy, I might as well. The third question is what new release has come out that you haven't had a chance to read yet? One book that I'm really excited, it just came out a few days ago I think, and it's My Calamity Jane by Brody Ashton, Cynthia Hand, and Jodie Meadows. I can't believe I rattled off all their names correctly. What they do is write historical retellings in a very comedic tone about famous Janes in the past or in literature. Their first book was about Lady Jane Grey from the Tudor era, and then their second book was about Jane Eyre, and sort of they retold the entire story of Jane Eyre as a comedy. And this third one, My Calamity Jane, I think there was a historical figure named Calamity Jane, so I think it's gonna be set in like the Wild West, and I'm super excited to get my hands on it. And as Sarah J. Maas Trash and Cassandra Clare Trash, I want to read Chain of Gold and Crescent City. So I'm really excited to read Chain of Gold, and then Crescent City just looks like a brick. So I'm not excited to read it anytime soon because it looks like it will take forever to read. But I am trash for her, so we'll see on that. The fourth question is most anticipated release for the end of the year. Oh, this is where I'll make my money back. So obviously one of my most anticipated releases for this year would be The Silvered Serpents, which is book 2 in the Gilded Wolves trilogy by Roshni Chokshi. It takes place in Imperial Russia at the end of the 19th century. I mean, just that logline is, I am sold and I am excited for that. I'm also excited for Mexican Gothic, which depends on when this video is coming out, will have already been released, but at the time of this filming, I don't think it's been released yet. I mean, just say the words Gothic horror to me and I'm like, where? Yep, present. And the third book that I am very excited for is Where Dreams Descend by Janela Angeles. I feel like I've been waiting for this book for forever, ever since the logline came out that it was like Moulin Rouge meets Phantom of the Opera and written by a Filipina author, and I'm like, what? I'm very excited to get my hands on them. How I will get my hands on them while the Philippines is still in lockdown, we shall see. The next question is biggest disappointment, and this answer was so easy. The biggest disappointment for this year would have to be Dividing Eden by Joelle Charbonneau. Whenever I make book reviews, guaranteed it's because I'm recommending that book. I might have bad things to say about it, but that's just me trying to be critical about it and not necessarily hating it. This book annoyed me to the point where I was like, I'm just gonna throw that rule out the window and make a rant review and be like, I don't recommend this book at all. It had such a good premise. The entire royal family has been assassinated and the 2 remaining heirs are twins. Now they must engage in a set of trials to determine who will take the throne. That sounds amazing, right? It was such a dumb book. I didn't care. At the end of the book, both protagonists could have died and I wouldn't have cared. The first chapter we meet the male twin. He literally to himself says, that court lady's been playing hard to get, but I'll get her soon enough. And I'm like, you're a creepy pervert. Like, why would I ever want you to win? I'm gonna give a spoiler. Do you want to know the real reason why in the book they have to go through a trial? Wouldn't logically your mind say, then the older twin should be the monarch, duh. In the book, they literally say, oh, well, your mom went crazy and the midwife died, and there was no record of who was the older twin. So you're saying that a royal birth was not recorded, to the point where now it's like, oh, well, I guess the midwife's dead and the mom went crazy. Now we don't know. Now you guys will have to fight each other to the death. And you're like, What? Why is this so dumb? The next question is biggest surprise, and I chose Empress by Ruby Lal. This is a non-fiction biography about Noor Jahan, who became India's empress. I hadn't really read that many books set in this time period and place. It was just so enthralling to learn about this whole other culture. I was surprised at how much I learned and how much she was able to cover in such a short page count, which makes me think your book doesn't have to be 700 pages long for it to be a history book. The next question is favorite new author. I had a lot of favorite authors this year. I read The Gilded Wolves by Roshni Chokshi, and I really enjoy her writing. I also read Julie C. Dow's Forest of a Thousand Lanterns, which I already did a review on, and you can check it out up there. I don't know how to do those cards thing. I am a tech lola. I also am now obsessed with Tara Frejas' writing. I also really like reading You, Me, US by Bridge Bautista, and her writing just also swept me away. Those are just a few of the authors that I read this year that I'm really like, And this might be a little premature, but the book I'm currently reading, which is Mirage by Sumaya Daud, I'm so in love with. I really love her writing, and I'm hoping that I will like it towards the end, because I have been burned before where I really love a book at the beginning and then end up hating it towards the end, but I have a good feeling about this one, so I'm gonna include her on this list as well. So the next question would be newest fictional crush, and it would be Datu Alves from Keeping Miss Kalila by Tara Frejas. I just loved reading about him and his glasses. I don't know why that was such a draw for me. He's cute, he's sweet, and then when in the book I found out he had glasses, I was like, hold up, I'm in love. Next question would be newest favorite character, and I would have to go with, this is risky because I am about to go for a character in the book I'm currently reading, therefore I do not know how it ends, but I have a feeling she's a delicious character all the way till the end, and it would be Princess Maram from Mirage by Sumaya Daud. Finally, an evil character who we're told is evil and is actually quite evil. In the summary it says the cruel princess, and then I read about her and I'm like, dang, you are cruel. Give me a villain that delivers. I'm kind of sensing a redemption arc, maybe. I just hope we're not giving it too soon. Give us a little time to bathe in her villainy. Next up, book that made you cry, and this would have to be You, Me, US by Bridge Bautista, and I read this one because I wanted to have at least one LGBT read for the month of June, which is Pride Month. This in particular is a story about two women. One is a contractual worker, one is a sex worker, and it's about them going from friends to lovers. And I think what was so amazing about the author's writing is that I'm a straight woman who has never had the jobs or the life experiences that both protagonists had, and yet the way she wrote emotions into the novel and the way she wrote about their experiences, I could easily sympathize with them, and I was like, oh, okay, that hit me right there. It was just beautiful the way she wrote, how she described what was going through their minds and hearts. It was so easily captured on paper, which is not an easy thing to do. The next question is a book that made you happy, and I would have to go back to Keeping Miss Kalila by Tara Frejas, and I messaged the author herself on Instagram and I told her that I was reading it at a time when things were really dark in the world, and personally it was just such like a beacon of light reading about these characters, reading about literally new life growing in the protagonist's womb, and a much needed like, I don't know what that was, but like a like a golden ray of light. The next question is favorite book to film adaptation. This is the one question that I'll have to pass on because I haven't watched a book to film adaptation yet for this year. I didn't watch Little Women, okay? I know I have to, it's amazing, oh my god, Florence Pugh, but I haven't watched it yet. This is the one question I'm gonna have to unfortunately skip. I almost skipped this next one too, and it is favorite review. I've only done 2 reviews on this channel this year, which is fantastic. I would have to say easily, even if I had more reviews, I really am proud of my Kingdom of Ash book review. It took me a long time to edit it, and I really made sure that everything I wanted to say was included. I wrote copious notes while I was reading the book itself. I'm especially proud of it because this is the first series, I think, on this channel that I've done a review for every single book like clockwork whenever a new one would come out. All my reviews of that series span the 5 years this channel has been alive, so I'm very proud of it that it was like, oh, the end. So it's gotta be my favorite review for sure. So the second to the last question is most beautiful cover. I'm gonna mention it again, but it would have to be Mirage again. Purple is my favorite color, but more specifically this exact precise shade of purple. And I mean, I don't hate gold either, so I love how it came together. Another beautiful cover of a book that I read this year, but was a 2019 release. I don't know why I had to preface it with that, but it would be Frankly in Love by David Yoon. Oh my god, I love this cover, from like the butter yellow to the cool like optical illusion. It's one of my favorite covers of all time. It's very wordy covers. I usually like illustrated covers. It's a brand new me, ladies and gentlemen. And the very last question for this tag is books that I need to finish by the end of the year. Being a mood reader, I don't really have a scheduled TBR for me. There are a few that I really hope to finish by the end of the year. The first of which is We Hunt the Flame, and this is going to be a buddy read between my friend JM from Just Read JM and me. I also hope to get a couple of sequels out of the way, like Now I Rise and A Court of Mist and Fury. Third book I want to read this year, it would be Medici's Daughter. This is about Catherine. Oh my god, there's so many Catherines in history, I forgot for a second there. Duh, Catherine de Medici. I am dumb. This is about Catherine de Medici's daughter, who is a princess of France, who was grossly misrepresented on the TV show Reign. So I'm excited to get the true story, because so far all I know is the bad story from the CW show. I'm currently watching The Legend of Korra. I guess I want to finish the TV shows before diving into any of the supplementary materials, but I also want to see if I can read The Rise of Kyoshi by the end of this year. But this is dependent on me finishing the TV series first. And lastly, I got like really into Greek mythology again because of this podcast that I mentioned, which is Let's Talk About Myths, Baby, a book that has been languishing on my TBR shelves for I don't know how long, Penelope's Daughter, and this is from the point of view of Odysseus's daughter. Odysseus married Penelope, had the daughter, and this is her story after she finds out her dad is coming home from the Trojan War, but obviously it takes him quite a while to get home, hence the Odyssey. So it's all the stuff she does in between. Again, I am a very mood reader, so by the time I finish Mirage, who knows, all these plans could have been chucked right out the window. We shall see. But yeah, now books are everywhere and I am done with the tag. And that about does it for my mid-year book Freakout tag. You can follow me on my other bookish adventures on Twitter and Instagram. I'm both at Cuckoo for Books. Please subscribe and I'll see you guys very soon. Bye guys!